let's see if I can get this. Here we are. You see my screen now?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Wow. You've changed your model in the last couple of months for sure.
Yes, literally. So everyone is practicing social distancing, and we are all away from Hero City because we are afraid of transmitting germs to one another. I've been there a couple times over the last 6 weeks, and I guess there's 5 or 6 regulars. And so I guess all of you are out. So the key thing we're afraid of is germs traveling from our mouths to one another. So we all are aware of the 6 feet no distancing, distancing where we keep apart from one another at Walgreens or what have you. It turns out 6 feet is not enough. It's sort of like masks probably, where germs will travel from beyond a 6 feet radius. Maybe if you sneeze or these coronavirus things might travel and be light and actually hit people further out, maybe up to 26 feet. So about a month and a half ago, I said maybe we should reapply ourselves to some of with some of the distributed applied crypto things that we've learned in decentralized blockchain stuff to privacy preserving contact tracing. And so for about 6 weeks or 6 or 7 weeks now, we became pseudo experts at contact tracing and social distancing protocols, having done protocol development at Wolk for the last two some years. And just 10 or 11 days ago, it turned out that 1,000 maybe people who had been developing contact tracing procedures, Apple and Google themselves, in a very unusual move, basically adapted many of the things that these kinds of groups, including myself with one of them, to basically commit to collaborating to release a contact tracing protocol, probably almost certainly sometime in June or July. So many of the same techniques that are in the middle of this process can be used for social distancing protocols. And so the key idea behind both of these things, contact tracing and social distancing, is that everybody with a iOS or Android device who opts in, the idea, will broadcast sort of changing IDs. So if say if you have 4 people at Hero City and they are using a contact tracing or social distancing app, all these guys will be emitting Bluetooth low energy signals that change every 10 or so minutes, okay? So this is a big change. I said, oh my God, if big tech and big government are going to dominate this space, there's going to be no room or meaning for us, but I'm really happy they did, because they might be able to save some lives with this. So we decided to pivot only 10 days ago, so this is very fresh, none like what some of you guys have done. So we pivoted to developing a social distancing network. So this is an idea very much in progress. So the key problem we're solving technically, it's not impossible, it's just one of those things you just have to get over with, is that you can map these Bluetooth low energy signals that all of us will be emitting, either through our social distancing apps or through the new contact tracing apps, and basically get really good or better robust distance estimators. So if I'm sitting over here at somewhere near the kitchen at Hero City, and Lisa and my office workers and Taito and everybody else around us, we can have an estimate that's improved despite all the noise that happens to be around us. And given good distance estimates between all of these broadcast signals, you can estimate social distancing scores, okay? So if you have bad social distancers, you would have low scores. Great social distancers, you would have high scores, and pretty much you can have natural things happen whenever somebody gets too close to you and enters into your sphere, so as to lower your social distances score somehow. You can have like buzzing going on or notifications or alerts and what have you, right? So this is the app that we've been developing. It's all very, 10 to actually 3 weeks old now. So this is one of the screens. We're calling it the SD app until we have a better name, social distancing app. So it would show you who is nearby yourself, okay? So this is my daughter. So pretend you're this user. You're up at the top, you're 0 feet away from yourself. the people around you, who would typically be your coworkers in some environment like that, she would be able to say, oh, my social distancing score is around a 4. Here's a poor social distancer named Jonas. And if people can self-report that they might have some symptomatic problems, like say Michael here, who is who's normally sits next to me, if he feels sick, he can report that, right? You can see, so this person can see the distances in sort of real time, around 10 to 15 seconds, and everyone's aggregated social distancing score, right? And how everyone's feeling. So that's actionable from this user's point of view. And we're basically, we brought this sort of distance estimation to practice. We're doing Hadoop jobs and whatnot to compute these social distancing scores and putting it to good work, right? So our target customer is actually all of you, all right? So it would be free to everybody at Hero City. Our hope would be that Lisa and everybody, Jeanette and so on, would subscribe on behalf of Zero City and actually pay to ensure that all of us are practicing good social distancing. So this is a new idea, but I think it's super relevant for everybody who has a workplace environment. It could be applied equally to schools and colleges who want to make sure that people can go back to school safely, and just like us. We believe that a natural model in the economic environment that is free for everyone but paid for by native ads, sponsorships, just like you see in every other social network, and some combination of sponsorships and paid subscriptions would enable these kinds of native ad formats to be natural. So we are hard at work, furiously putting these things together. So we're building a robust distance estimator. This is our core problem of the week. We're actually feeding this data right into the social distance scoring metric system, figuring out the sort of UIs of what should happen when you click on some of those people to show you, what kind of collisions you have or why they got a certain social distance score. And we are proud to say that we have done enough work to at least be able to launch with in a June timeframe, alpha next month, and probably releasable with Apple and Google's contact tracing efforts. And our hope is that sometime this fall we can actually, if with a little bit of luck, we can ensure some safety, maybe save some lives, and do our part to avoid any kind of Great Depression that we want to avoid at all costs. So if you want to help me out, I would love to have you as a customer or as a user, and you can send me a note and I will be sure to tell all of you as soon as we have it available.
Yeah, it's great. I like that you guys are so quick to react to the problem and trying to solve it. But I always look at these things long term. And long term, this is a dystopian nightmare, at least for me, to be forced to be 6 feet away from everybody and be judged on how far away you are from people. I don't think it's healthy long term. I think it does solve a short term problem. And maybe we have these diseases that just keep coming. And if we give up our herd, the ability to defend against a disease as a herd, then these kinds of things are going to be really relevant. But, what kind of a world does that look like? And I think when you're starting a business and you're putting your life and your efforts and everything into it, you should think, what is it at the end? How does this look 10 years from now? And how do people live 10 years from now? And is it something you want to see? I like hugs too much for this.
So I don't know how to forecast any better than everyone else. It's the number one question on everyone's minds. When will this end? But the natural thing for this to evolve into, assuming the pandemic is over the summer, I don't know if that's likely or possible, but it's basically a Bluetooth low energy social network. So you can drop the SD social distancing aspect.
That's a question. Is there something else here? Like, is there a long-term application beyond this, like, quick, trendy, like we're going to fix something quick?
Right.
Is there a long-term trend where you can say, let me use this technology for something that is going to make the world better?
Yeah, I mean, this is the Minority Report sort of dream scenario, which you all are aware of. Beacons and Bluetooth Low Energy is not a new concept, but around 5 or 6 years ago, when this PLE stuff started happening, everyone imagined that you would walk by various things on 3rd Avenue, and you would have a beacon transmit ads, right? And so no one really wanted to download 1,000 apps for every retailer out there, right? From Noodleosophy to whatever. Noodles and things, so forth. So it's potential that there's an alternate business model for this kind of thing, where people would get targeted advertisements in their local neighborhood. So I wouldn't say it's totally failed, but it's been basically not successful because people don't want to get spammed by their local retailers. And so, assuming everything gets back to normal, 6 to 12 months from now, that's another business model, is that it would be an end-to-end encryption mechanism in a BLE-based social network.
Yeah, that sounds better to me. I'd rather get advertised to than be forced to be 6 feet from everybody forever.
It's decentralized, at least. It would be driven by the office managers rather than by the government. So you got to appreciate that.
I do.
Yeah.
Terrific. Any other questions? Here, let's keep moving. Who's up next?
Up next, we have JDX. So, Peter or Charles?
Hi, Charles.
Hello, this is
Hi, Tim.
Charles.